Our planet, a vibrant sphere of life hurtling through space, is unique. Unlike any other celestial body we know, Earth possesses a remarkable feature: vast, shimmering oceans. These immense bodies of water, covering over 70% of the Earth's surface, are far more than just scenic expanses. They regulate our climate, drive weather patterns, and produce the very air we breathe. Ocean currents, like giant conveyor belts, transport heat, nutrients, and oxygen across vast distances. The oceans are also a vital source of food, providing sustenance for billions of people worldwide. Beyond their practical significance, oceans hold a profound place in our collective imagination. They are a source of wonder, inspiration, and exploration. For centuries, humans have been drawn to the allure of the sea, embarking on daring voyages of discovery and seeking to unravel its mysteries. The oceans are not merely a vast expanse of water, they are a complex and interconnected web of life. Coral reefs, often called the rainforests of the sea, support a dazzling diversity of life. Fish of all shapes and sizes, from tiny gobies to massive whales, patrol the waters. Marine organisms provide us with food, medicine, and other valuable resources. Imagine a world stripped of its lifeblood, a world where the once mighty oceans have vanished. The very thought seems unfathomable, a dystopian nightmare reserved for science fiction. The immediate environmental changes would be dramatic and devastating. The once hidden ocean floor, now exposed to the atmosphere, would become a vast, arid desert. Without the oceans to absorb and distribute heat, the planet's temperature would fluctuate wildly. Regions once blessed with temperate climates would experience scorching summers and frigid winters. Marine life, deprived of its habitat, would face immediate extinction. The loss of biodiversity would be immeasurable, robbing the planet of its richness and resilience. The ramifications of a world without oceans extend far beyond the environmental realm. Our dependence on the oceans for sustenance, resources, and even our cultural identity cannot be overstated. Billions of people around the world rely on the oceans for their primary source of protein. Fisheries would collapse overnight, leaving coastal communities without livelihoods and triggering widespread food shortages. Beyond food security, the disappearance of the oceans would disrupt global trade and transportation. Shipping routes, which rely on the vast network of oceans and seas, would cease to exist. The loss of the oceans would also have a profound impact on our cultural heritage. Imagine gazing upon our planet from the vastness of space, no longer the familiar blue marble, but a world transformed. The once vibrant oceans teeming with life have vanished, leaving behind a stark, alien landscape. The immediate aftermath of the ocean's disappearance would be a period of unimaginable upheaval. The most striking change would be the exposure of the ocean floor, a hidden world suddenly thrust into the unforgiving grip of the atmosphere. Coastal regions, once teeming with life and bustling with human activity, would undergo a dramatic transformation. Cities and towns that once thrived on the edge of the sea would find themselves stranded far inland. The disappearance of the oceans would also have a profound impact on Earth's tectonic plates. Without this counterbalance, the plates could become more prone to shifting and colliding, increasing the frequency and intensity of earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. The oceans play a crucial role in regulating Earth's climate, acting as a massive heat sink. Their disappearance would unleash chaos upon the atmosphere, leading to extreme and unpredictable weather patterns across the globe. With no oceans to moderate temperatures, the planet would experience dramatic swings between scorching days and frigid nights. The lack of moisture would turn once fertile lands into arid deserts, while other areas would be battered by torrential downpours and violent storms. The absence of the oceans would also disrupt the global water cycle. Without this vital source of moisture, rainfall patterns would become erratic and unpredictable. Droughts would become more frequent and severe, while other areas would experience devastating floods. The disappearance of the oceans would not only reveal the hidden landscapes of the ocean floor, but also expose the scars left behind by human activities. For centuries, we have treated the oceans as a dumping ground for our waste and pollution. The consequences of this negligence would be laid bare for all to see. Miles of discarded fishing nets, known as ghost nets, would litter the former seabed. Countless plastic bottles, bags, and other debris would be left behind as a toxic legacy of our throwaway culture. The ocean floor, once teeming with life, would bear the scars of deep-sea mining operations. Vast stretches of seabed, gouged and scarred in the search for valuable minerals, would serve as a stark reminder of the insatiable human appetite for resources. The disappearance of the oceans would unleash a toxic legacy that would continue to haunt the planet for generations to come. The seabed, once a stable environment for countless marine organisms, would become a source of harmful pollutants. One of the most immediate concerns would be the massive salt deposits left behind by the evaporating seawater. These salt flats, covering vast areas of the former ocean floor, would be highly susceptible to erosion by wind and dust storms. The airborne salt particles would be carried inland, contaminating soil and water sources. The seabed is a repository for various heavy metals and other toxic substances. As the seabed dries out, these pollutants would be released into the environment.
The immediate and most devastating consequence of the ocean's disappearance would be the complete annihilation of marine life. The vibrant ecosystems that once teemed with an astonishing diversity of creatures would be silenced forever. Coral reefs, often called the rainforests of the sea, would be transformed into barren wastelands. The intricate structures built by countless coral polyps over millennia would crumble and bleach under the relentless sun. The fish, invertebrates, and other marine life that relied on these reefs for food and shelter would vanish. The open ocean, once home to a vast array of pelagic species, would become a desolate wasteland. The deep ocean, a realm of perpetual darkness and extreme pressure, would not be spared from the devastation.
In the aftermath of the ocean's disappearance, species face a desperate struggle for survival. Only the most adaptable and resilient species would stand a chance. Plants in arid regions like cacti and succulents would be better equipped. Animals tolerating extreme temperatures and limited water would persist. Insects with their adaptability could thrive in the new environment. Competition for scarce resources would be fierce. The loss of the oceans would have a profound impact on the Earth's atmosphere. The planet would become hotter and drier, exacerbating conditions for life on land. The once vibrant blue planet would be cloaked in a perpetual haze of dust and sand. The disappearance of phytoplankton would have far-reaching consequences. The greenhouse effect would intensify, accelerating climate change. The air would become thinner and more difficult to breathe. The loss of the oceans would disrupt the Earth's albedo. More sunlight would be reflected back into space. The oceans absorb a significant amount of solar radiation. Without them, more sunlight would be reflected back into space. This would likely be outweighed by the increase in greenhouse gases. The ecological impact would be catastrophic, leaving behind a world vastly different from the one we know.
The disappearance of the oceans would be an existential crisis for humanity. Our dependence on this life-giving resource is deeply ingrained. Its absence would trigger catastrophic consequences.
The most immediate threat would be unprecedented water scarcity. With the oceans gone, fresh water sources would vanish. Water bodies sustaining cities and farmlands would dwindle.
The sound of flowing rivers would be replaced by eerie silence. The consequences would be swift and merciless. Access to clean water would become a luxury.
Sanitation systems would collapse, spreading diseases. Agriculture would halt as crops withered. The scramble for water would ignite conflicts. The social fabric would be stretched to its breaking point.
The disappearance of the oceans would send shockwaves through every facet of human society, toppling the pillars upon which our civilization stands. International shipping, responsible for transporting the vast majority of goods, would grind to a halt. Coastal cities, once vibrant hubs of commerce, culture and innovation, would face a bleak and uncertain future. Their economies, heavily reliant on maritime trade, tourism and fishing, would collapse. The loss of the oceans would leave a gaping hole in the tapestry of human culture. The disappearance of the oceans would reshape the geopolitical landscape, toppling empires and forcing humanity to confront the challenges of a world without the lifeblood that had sustained us for millennia. The competition for dwindling resources, the mass displacement of populations, and the breakdown of social order would test the resilience of nations.
Yet even in the face of such unimaginable adversity, the indomitable spirit of humanity, our capacity for innovation, and our unwavering will to survive would offer a glimmer of hope amidst the ruins. The disappearance of the oceans, while catastrophic, would also serve as a catalyst for unprecedented cooperation, forcing us to reevaluate our priorities, adapt to a radically altered world, and forge a new path for our species. The need to secure access to fresh water would drive innovation in desalination technologies, making it possible to tap into the vast reserves of salt water locked away in underground aquifers and previously inaccessible sources. New methods of agriculture, adapted to arid conditions and requiring minimal water, would emerge, ensuring food security for a world grappling with scarcity. The collapse of global trade would necessitate a shift towards localized economies, with communities becoming more self-sufficient and reliant on local resources. This renewed focus on local production and consumption could foster a greater sense of community and a more sustainable way of life. The disappearance of the oceans would be a tragedy of unimaginable proportions, but it would also be a profound turning point in human history.
Over millennia, Earth's landscapes would undergo a profound transformation. The planet would enter an era of perpetual aridity, the Great Desiccation. Wind and weather would reshape the topography, eroding the exposed ocean floor. Dust storms would blanket continents, turning fertile regions into wastelands. Forests would wither, leaving skeletal remains. The planet's albedo would be significantly altered, reflecting more sunlight. Section 3. The legacy of our oceans. The vanished ocean's legacy shapes Earth, leaving scars for generations. Continents reshaped by time stand as monuments to lost oceans. Fossils remind us of the incredible biodiversity that once flourished. Myths and legends recount a time of abundance and life. The loss of oceans is a defining event in Earth's history. Life, adaptable and tenacious, finds a way to persist. New ecosystems emerge, sculpted by a changed world. In the distant future, life flourishes in new forms. Section 1. A blue planet in peril. Our journey through a world devoid of oceans has been a stark and sobering experience. The intricate web of life unravels, the balance of nature shattered. The once vibrant blue planet reduced to a parched shadow. The silence of the vanished seas, the absence of tides, the stillness of a world deprived of its lifeblood. The disappearance of the oceans triggers catastrophic consequences, from microorganisms to ecosystems, from the air we breathe to the ground we walk upon. The loss of marine life, the collapse of food chains, the disruption of weather patterns, scarcity of fresh water, economic upheaval, social unrest. The interconnectedness of all living things is laid bare. This scenario reminds us of the urgent need to protect our oceans. Our choices today will have far-reaching consequences. The fate of our oceans and our own fate hangs in the balance.
The time for complacency is long gone. We must act now with urgency and determination to address the threats facing our oceans, from climate change and pollution to overfishing and habitat destruction. The solutions exist, but they require a collective effort, a global commitment to safeguarding the future of our blue planet. We must reduce our reliance on fossil fuels, transitioning to cleaner, more sustainable sources of energy to mitigate the impacts of climate change. We must implement responsible waste management practices, reducing our consumption of single-use plastics, and investing in innovative solutions to tackle the growing problem of marine pollution. We must adopt sustainable fishing practices, ensuring that fish stocks are managed responsibly to prevent overfishing and protect marine ecosystems. We must establish marine protected areas, safe havens for marine life to thrive, free from the pressures of human activities. The task before us is daunting, but it is not insurmountable. We must draw inspiration from the resilience of nature, the interconnectedness of life, and the power of collective action. The future of our oceans, and indeed our own future, depends on the choices we make today. Let us be the guardians of our blue planet, ensuring that its wonders and its bounty are preserved for generations to come.